Well, welcome to the next part of my Let's Play of the Incas. I'm still at war with England, and we use the same battle tactics that I did with the Portuguese earlier. Right now I'm going to use the slash and burn tactics, and I'm going to move all my troops up north. But I'm going to keep like some single, like one regiment units down here, like two or three, just so I could recapture some provinces. I've been meaning to do this video forever, but um, it's really irritating to play. I think probably I mean I like playing hard games, but the Incas really take the cake. I think the only hardest, I think maybe a nation that would probably be a little bit harder would be the Aztecs. No, I think the hardest nation would probably be Chile. But yeah, Mesoamerica that was much harder than South America. Right now, I'm trying to concede defeat with Sweden, Castile, and France. I mean, it's worth 5 war scores, so it's much easier to do that than keep on fighting them, especially when they won't take just regular white peace. I will lose prestige though, and it might take a while to gather it all back up, but it's better than losing outright. I think the only three nations I've ever lost is the only three nations I've ever lost as in this game is the Aztecs, the Incas, and Tripoli. And Tripoli was really out of my own negligence at that time. It was a couple of years ago. As you can see right here, I'm gonna flank. I'm gonna go through the back, recapture my territories here. Trying to see, well, I was trying to see how, like, how many provinces the English would actually take before they would actually accept an agreement. And it seems like they still want more. I noticed that for the most part, they really won't accept an agreement unless they take over most of your nation. But I mean, of course, that makes sense. But still, even if the war lasts a couple of years, at least that's how it is if you're a New World nation. Um, Speaking of which, I was reading Gun, Germs, and Steel, and it's a pretty good book though for anyone who hasn't read it. And I found out that the Incas actually did not have a writing system, and I thought that was pretty interesting considering how large their empire was, especially compared to the Aztecs who actually did have a writing system. And not only that, I actually found out that Mesoamerica is um, only one out of the two areas in the world where like anthropologists and archaeologists and whatnot know that writing was independently developed, and the only other place in the world would be Samaria. Even Chinese possibly has some influence from other civilizations' form of writing. So yeah, basically, the English language can trace its influence all the way from Samaria. all my generals started dropping like flies around this part. I decided to give my small units some assign them generals just because they could get extra speed, and I'm pretty sure that would help just a tiny bit. And any small amount of help I can get for this game, I use, or at least I try to use. Right now, I'm trying to recapture Cusco. It's a it's pretty it's convenient when you have forts when you're defending, but when they finally recapture it, it's really a hassle trying to recapture it back. That's all I have one fort. I'm gonna start building forts though once I finally get to military modernization. General Marcavica. Well, also another thing, um, if you're gonna use the same tactics, if you play as any of the American nations, you should also disband your units if they have the potential of getting killed by by your enemy, just because it's gonna add more war score to them and also more war exhaustion. Can't have that. Plus, at least for the Incas, the units only cost 5 ducats, which isn't that much. You have plenty of gold to go around, so it's really a drop in the bucket, if you so to speak. One thing that sort of annoys me about New World nations that they aren't really detailed. I mean, in Peru you only have the Jamu and Incas, and Mesoamerica you only have the Zapotec, Maya, and Aztec. And I really don't get why I don't really get why I can understand the Iroquois to an extent, but I really don't get why the Creek, Cherokee, and is it Seminole? I think it's a Seminole. I don't get why they're represented though, compared to all the other potential nations. Just because they don't really have an organized government till later. I mean, if you're gonna include the Creek and all that, you might as well include like the um, the um, Polynesian tribes. Why? I mean, why not those? I mean, that would be pretty cool to play as the Hawaii. I know there are mods that have them have different nations in Pacific, but um, the vanilla game doesn't. And Mesoamerica isn't really that accurately represented either. Especially because the Mayans never occupied that much land. Zapotec never occupied that much land. I don't even think the Aztecs occupied that much land, but or at least I think they did, but just like in a different shape. The closest I've seen to a good depiction of it would be the whole world mod, where they include the other city states around Texcoco. But besides that, though, I haven't really seen that many good representations of the New World. Especially because I'm pretty sure there were more kingdoms too in the Andes at this time, or at least in the beginning, in the beginning date. As you can see right here, the English start moving north, and that was pretty unexpected. But I thought they were only planning to capture my trade center, my center of trade. I started panicking at this moment though, because I had all my reserve troops up here, and I had my ships up here too. So I was really freaking out. Another one of my generals died. Hmm. But yeah, I think if in Europa before, if they expand outside of Europe, I really think that's the only thing they need to work on, just to expand outside of Europe. I mean, at least in Victoria wasn't that centered. I mean, you could actually play as modern day Peru and have fun. Actually, I think I did. Yeah, I did. I played as modern day Peru and it turned into a fascist nation, and ended up like taking over all of the west coast. And then like at the very end, I was about to war with the U.S., but then the game ended. Reached the final date. I mean, there's a lot more interesting areas to play as in Victoria, but Europe is still my favorite game though. The time period I find more interesting. I like I don't know, I just like the whole colonization and exploration thing. I just wish they went more in depth with the people they actually conquer. I know that sounds weird, but I sort of want the I sort of want all the nations outside of Europe and to be more than just fodder for the Europeans. Besides that, you have Japan and China and East Asia. You have the Ottomans, the Middle East. But besides that, you really have nothing else. You don't really have any interesting events or anything. I remember Venice has a lot of interesting events, but the most interesting game I've played so far would be the Holy Roman Empire. That's probably the funnest game I've ever played yet. I still haven't finished it though, but I'm pretty much taking over most of Europe and I'm already in the Middle East, about to go against Persia. I'd say my second favorite would probably be Malaya, just because I like how you get a mixture of the whole colonization thing with the whole, while at the same time being East Asian, well, Southeast Asian. If they added the New Zealand tribes or whatever they're called, the chiefdoms or whatever, I would probably play as them too. Also, they if they worked on the later game, because the later game tends to get boring. I'm not sure if they could really do that though, because I'm pretty sure the only reason why the late game is boring is because most people tend to end up being a large nation by then, so nothing really stands in their way. But I don't know. Victoria for me always stayed interesting even in the late game. Just because at least in the late game you have all the revolutions to look forward to. Yeah, you go look for the communist revolutions, the fascist revolutions. I mean, I find that more. I mean, at least in this game they tried to do that by with Napoleon's ambition, but you never really see revolutionary nations. Then again, I only played one game to the end date, and even after 1700 in general, but still. See right here, when the English started going up north, that's when I decided that this is the chance where I can actually force them out. So I started using I started doing a lot of slash and burn up in the jungles, and hope that all that attrition will end up take them down like a considerable amount. So then I started all basing all well a good number of my troops at Cuenca and put troops at the neighboring two provinces in order to not get any attrition from it either. But Cuenca notably because of all the bonus you get from defense bonus you get from the mountains. So that should help me out. This was really unexpected though. Also around the same time too, when I sent my reserve troops back to the northwest coast, unsettled land. Um, at the same time, they killed off all the natives through there, and after that, the Spanish started trying to settle it. Well, they did end up settling it, but I'm not sure if that is because I killed most of the natives off there. I assume that's why. So as you could tell, use geography to your best advantage. Use the unsettled land to your advantage. Use the mountains to your advantage. Know which provinces are easier to go through, because that will help a lot. Pretty sure there's some quote in the Art of War about that. At first, I decided to maybe send one little unit up there to recapture those little provinces, but then I realized that I need every single man possible to defeat the British at this battle. So I ended up getting him to stay. And here I am thinking, as you can tell. Nope, never mind. That was just a flag. I also found it really coincidental that I got my idea right here. I wasn't expecting that at all. I didn't even know that I didn't have that idea yet. So that really, really, really helps. And of course I save. This is probably the only time you see me do this, but I had to. I mean, it was all or nothing right now, and I actually want to see how it is like to make it to the end game as the Incas. And I lower them to 2,000, but oh, also they're sending troops to the south too. But at the last minute, boom, they defeat me. That's when I got pissed off and decided to reload. So then I come back. This time though, I decided to organize all my units way better, so they have a better average morale. So I just organize them in 3 units instead. Then I recruit more mercenaries. Money's not an issue here though, so that's good. If you didn't notice at the beginning, they get a lot of good dies, but in the end though, my numbers end up winning over their army, and they get wiped out. And I was really, really happy at that point, so I decided to spread out all my troops just in case the British decide to send another unit. But I decided it's probably best to get the best peace deal I possibly can. Really wish there was a way for me to convert though, because I really don't like being animist, knowing that they could just take my if they do take a province, then it's just all over with for that province. They're no longer going to be considered Incans. So at that point, I released Chamu. A reason I could just take it back later, and then I end up reforming my government now that it's peacetime. right about now. And then I decided to switch my government again because I wanted a monarchy. I didn't want any problems with my sliders. So then I try to get a lot of royal marriages to raise up my legitimacy, which is a really, really hard thing to do when practically most of the animist nations are being conquered, about to be conquered, or will be conquered. Also look for Ryukyu, but Japan already had it. It's also a very lonely feeling you get when you play as Incas because you can't really ally with anyone. At least maybe that will change later on in the game, but as of now, no one will want to ally with me. I mean, no one wants to ally with me right now. I don't think anyone will, but who knows? Maybe I'll get lucky. Maybe I'll get lucky. But yeah, I'm gonna put all my money into stability so I could get it up, and then I'll invade the Chamu. A reason that I noticed that when ally nation frees, when an AI nation frees a nation, they really don't. Oh, there goes my first there. They really don't. They really don't actually protect it, even though they're allied to it. Also, notice that if you free a nation, most of the time they don't actually stay under your control. I mean, they don't stay allied with you for the most part. That's what I've noticed. There's barely any permanent allies in Europa. And most of the time, they're really small. It's good having a big ally when you're in Europe, but when you finally get to their size, it really starts getting annoying because then they start declaring war on nations that you want good relations with. It happens a lot when I ally with Austria, and then Austria never actually comes to my help when I need it. Well, this is around the part where I declare war on the Chimu. Or at least I think it is. Oh yeah, the reason why I settled that landlocked province right there is because if any other nation declares war on me and invades me, I could use that nation to my advantage. I mean, a province to my advantage. Did I say nation? I think I did. But yeah, Chichas really did help though, because they didn't bother capturing it. But yeah. And then I decided to invade him. Stability hit though wasn't that bad. I mean, I'm already pretty low. But yeah, the English didn't come to their aid after all. And then Castile declares war on me, but I really don't mind it too much though, because my navy, I end up using my navy later on in the vid, but this is the part where I finally get a chance to use my navy for something, and I use the chance to get rid of the Spanish colonies on the northwest of Peru. But yeah, this video pretty much ends with a cliffhanger though, so I'll end my commentary, and thank you for watching. But yeah, um, yeah, I'll just finish with a commentary and let you watch the rest.